I want to thank you all for attending this session in our webinar series at Cashflow Champs today. It is our intention to bring you good content on a weekly basis and to develop good business relationships with you, and also to be a resource for you in the multifamily real estate space. Today, we'll be covering the topic transitioning from single-family investing to multifamily syndication. And in this webinar, we will learn the differences between single-family and multifamily investing, also the type of multifamily investings and your goals, and why multifamily real estate investing is superior to single-family investing. And of course, we'll end with the transitioning from the single-family to the multifamily real estate investing. So let me just take a minute, though, just to introduce myself and to give you some information in terms of housekeeping. I'm Paul Senior, one of the managing partners with Cashflow Champs, and I live outside Washington, D.C. with my wife and 3 children. And you can get some more information about us as a team at Cashflow Champs. If you go to cashflowchamps.com, and if you hover over the About Us button, you can always go down and look at information about us on our screen. You can meet the team. There are 6 of us that make up the Cashflow Champs team. Just feel free to go through there and look that through and get more familiar with us there. If you scroll to the top right of the page also, then you will see a button, schedule a call. You can go ahead and click on that, schedule a call, and just fill that information out. And somebody from our investor relation team will be back in touch with you. I'm also the co-host of the Cashflow Champs Real Estate Podcast. And I do that with my partner, Prashant. And, that's something that is done on a weekly basis. So I invite you to join us there as well. Our team right now has a portfolio of about $146 million asset under management, a little over 1,600 doors. And we're very excited because we're about to up those numbers here pretty soon. We were awarded a deal in the Atlanta MSA. Actually have a webinar on it tonight. So, that's a great opportunity that we'll be sharing. So if you want to join us on that, we'll probably try to drop the link in the chat for you to sign up or just, just kind of, meet us there if you so desire. But definitely it's a great asset you can take a look at. We have some free resources for you as well. And one is a coach. One is the underwriting session on Saturdays. Charles Seaman, one of our managing partners, does an underwriting sessions on Saturdays at 4 p.m. And you can always join him there for that. So if you look at the QR code that's in the middle of your screen, you can always scan that QR code and log in there. You can simply go to cashflowchamps.com/underwrite. That's a free session that we offer to the public, teaching how to underwrite, to evaluate deals. We go to the rent roll, the T12, and I think you'll find it very informative. We have the Cashflow Champs Aristocrat Coaching Program. You can also scan the QR code on that. That is a paid program. And what we're doing there, we're teaching individuals how to also invest into multifamily real estate. And if you're a beginner, haven't done a deal yet, that's a great program for you to start out with. You have seasoned professionals who have been doing it for a number of years who will be right there with you to guide you through the process, and we'll guarantee you close the deal definitely within the first 6 months if you follow the blueprint we have for you. But it's a 1-year program. We'll definitely have you in a deal or 2 before the end of the year is out. Also, we have our summit. Last year was our first summit, the Cashflow Champs Virtual Summit. This year is going to be November 17th, 18th, and 19th. So we invite you to go to cfcsummit.com, and you can sign up for the summit as well. And you can get some information there. That is also a free summit, and you're welcome to join us for the summit. If you have any questions as we go through, please go ahead and put those in the chat. And that way we'll make sure we'll get to those questions throughout the presentation. And also at the end if there's anything else left over. Here's a disclaimer that I need to read. I'm not an attorney, financial advisor, or tax advisor, an accountant. The purpose of this webinar is for information purposes only. So please seek the appropriate personnel if you need advice in terms of any investment. So Let us take a minute now and just jump into re-engage the topic of single-family real estate investing. So bring it up on the screen here a little bit. So let's do that. So let's talk about the differences between single-family investing and multifamily investing. Let's just touch on that a little bit, and we're going to talk about the transition. So let's take a minute just to cover some basic information, just for the record, regarding single-family and multifamily. Single-family, of course, is a residential building designed to accommodate one family. Multifamily properties are designed to accommodate 4 or more families. So each unit within a multifamily home has its own kitchen, of course, a bathroom, maybe entrance, definitely the address. So each unit is equipped and self-sufficient, right? This enables the families that reside in a multifamily property to live separately, even though they're sharing a common wall and common roofs. So multifamily properties can range from 2 units to hundreds of units within the same complex. So an apartment is a type of multifamily property, right? So one of the cool things about multifamily is that although multiple people can live in the same complex, only one person or one entity tend to own the entire property, right? So that's a cool feature about multifamily property. So as far as real estate investing is concerned, there are many differences between investing in single family properties versus multifamily property, and we will point out shortly that multifamily investing is superior to investment as compared to single family investment. So why would an investor start with single family investment property since it's an inferior investment strategy? Well, there are a couple of reasons. One, a lot of investors, including myself, got into real estate investing, I would say by default, right? I mean, for me, I was in my early 20s when I got started. And it's by default because I was a bachelor. I mean, I got a good job just coming out of college, and everything was dandy. And I chose to, instead of renting, I never have instead of renting my apartment, I rented for about 2 years afterward. I saved up enough money to go ahead and buy a single family home. So after I bought that, then I mean, I was in there for a few years, and then, you know, life kind of changes, start courting, meet somebody, you get married, and before you know it, a family starts, right? So now you start thinking about new school district, you start thinking about more space for your family, whatever. So that property that I had as a bachelor ended up being my first rental property, right? So that's how I say most people start by default in a way that's similar to that. And before you know it, you know, you look and you pay the mortgage, and you know, you still have $500 or $600 left over at the end of the month. And then you start dreaming about the possibilities. What if I have 5 of these? What if I have 10 of these? What if I have 20 of these? What would that make to the lifestyle that we have? So a lot of people start that way. So in essence, multifamily investing was not really given a thought in this circumstance, right? It was a default plan that started to work, and then I just continued to work that plan, right? So, and there's nothing wrong with that, except that it doesn't account for efficiency in time, right? So in my case, my wife and I, we built up a portfolio of a few dozen properties, and it served us well, right? But it took the better part of almost 2 decades to do that, right? So was that the very best use of our time? Not exactly sure about that answer, but a second reason is why investors start with single family properties, that they think that multifamily acquisition is kind of in a league outside of their reach. So in other words, there's a mental block, right? They simply cannot see themselves owning and operating 100+ unit complex. And that's quite understandable, right? I mean, normally, at least in my case, there was no proof of concept around me. There is no one in my immediate association that has done it. Oftentimes our affiliation with apartment complex had to do with the units that our families rented there, right? And so the thought of owning a multifamily property really was not given serious consideration, or in many cases, didn't really cross the mind of many investors. So there has to be a paradigm shift in the mental psyche of the investor, where from the onset of investing, multifamily syndication is an option of the choices. So they're not only exposed to single family investing, they should be exposed to multifamily investing And the shift in mindset, I think, is a key in terms of making that change. So the truth is, I only kind of became familiar with the whole idea of multifamily investing in an intimate way, say in the past 3 years. But I have been in real estate almost 20 years. So I was unaware of the path of owning and operating 100 plus multifamily property, either through my own ignorance or maybe a lack of due diligence in the real estate investing in general. But whatever the reason, we want to change that. Going forward, the possibility of investing in multifamily syndication must be something I think should be readily available to all investors, as single family is readily available to them right now. So those are some changes that we'd like to make in terms of democratizing real estate in general, so that the average person can use this great asset in multifamily as an avenue to gain wealth. So let's just touch on our third subtopic a little bit. Why real estate investing, why multifamily real estate investing is superior to the single family real estate investing. And there are a few reasons why multifamily property investing tend to be better than single family investing. And one is definitely income reliability, right? We'll talk about that just a little bit in depth. We also, force appreciation is another thing that is applicable to multifamily investing that's not so much applicable to single family investing. And it's a huge, huge game changer. And scalability and also economies of scale. So when we talk of income reliability, we're talking about the benefits of income reliability is really built into the property types themselves, right? So if you have a single family home, you rent it out, of course, to one family. And the typical thing we always say, if that family leaves that property and no longer is able to pay the rent for that property, then your income stream dries up immediately. But guess what? You still owe the bank. I mean, you're still on the hook for all the bills that's associated with that property. So, you know, you can't really reach out to the mortgage, to the bank and say, look, I can't pay you this month because, you know, my tenant is not paying. Now, you can say that and you can actually do that, but in your, you know, in your deed of trust, there's a clause there that allows the bank to start foreclosure on the property. And of course, that's not what we want. We want to build a portfolio, not to have it taken away from us. So just having one person in your one unit when there's a vacancy is a tremendous hit in terms of the income. It dries up so quickly. With multifamily properties like 100 unit complex, for example, it is very unlikely that you'll have 100% vacancy at any one point in your ownership. Now, some people will always be, you know, renting the building, which means that you will always have some type of an income coming in that can help to cover your expenses. So multifamily units are seldom in a position where the owners have no income to pay their expenses, right? And this makes it less risky and a more stable overall investment. With multifamily investing also, you can do forced appreciation, right? So with multifamily investing, you can force the appreciation of the property. And simply what that means is that usually the value of multifamily building is directly proportional to the income it generates. So the higher the NOI or the net operating income, the higher the valuation of the property. So if you are a multifamily investor, you have the opportunity to force the appreciation of the property and to increase the income of the asset just in a variety of ways. One, you can do it through operational efficiencies, right? You can do renovations and subsequently increase the rent associated with each unit that you renovate. And then the marketing strategies in which you kind of increase the value of the property. It may be that you can also increase the net operating income just by installing washer and dryers in the unit, you know, and charge a premium for that. There's in multifamily property, you can also do what they call valet trash as well. You know, you have a designated company that goes around and pretty much collect trash from the apartments, and then they dispose of those trash for the residents. There's a fee for that. You can charge for covered parking, right? Some people just like their car to be in pristine shape at all times. And, you know, you can also, you know, charge a fee, and you can charge pet fee as well. So there are different things that you can do to increase income. And by increasing income, you're increasing the NOI. And like I said, the NOI, an increase in NOI give a direct increase in valuation in a multiple ways. For example, if you increase the NOI by say $1,000, you can have your valuation go up, almost $1 million, depending on the cap rate that you're dealing with for the different areas. So that's a huge thing in terms of force appreciation for property in multifamily real estate. On the other hand, single family homes are really at the mercy of what we call comparables, right? And so within any given area for a single family, you kind of go in that immediate area, about a mile radius, maybe 2-mile radius, find properties that are similar, and they serve as the basis of the price that you'll get for your property. So for example, if you have a 3-bed, 3.5-bath townhouse in a certain area, to get a value for that property, an appraiser will come in and look at properties that are probably within a mile radius that is similar, 3-bedroom, 3.5-bath, if it has a garage, and they will, whatever price those properties are going for or sold for, then that will dictate what you will get in terms of a valuation for your property. So you don't really have much levers to pull like you do in multifamily in terms of increasing your valuation. Economies of scale. This have to do with the fact that there's a cost saving per unit due to a larger quantity of units involved, right? So for an apartment complex, when you are contracting out rehab projects, for example, or the maintenance, or when you're purchasing supplies, the per unit cost will be less expensive due to the greater volume of units that is involved. So investors will benefit from the cost per unit when it comes to multifamily investing, but not so much on the single family side. It's the whole concept of bulk discount, right? You buy things in bulk, you tend to get a discount. So if you're purchasing 100 washer and dryers, you're more likely to get a discount, and that's a huge savings overall when it comes to that. And then scalability. The investing in multifamily real estate allows investors to grow their portfolio more quickly than in single family homes, because if you're buying and maintaining 100 single family houses, it will be much less efficient and much less profitable than acquiring and operating a single 100-unit property, because everything is now under the same roof, and we talked about operational efficiencies before. So it's much easier to handle one mortgage also versus 100 different mortgages and investment strategies. So those are just some reasons why multifamily real estate investing is superior. Now, there are different types of multifamily investing, and we got to make sure that we consider your goals as you go into that, and we'll just touch on that. So as you switch from single family investing to multifamily investing, you'll be presented with a variety of multifamily options in terms of the different classes. Now, typically they have class A, class B, C, and D properties in the multifamily space, and the classification is often due to the vintage and also kind of due to the condition of the property. So those are indicative of what condition, of what class of property will be in. And we need to know this as we switch from single family to multifamily, so we can know the space we want to operate in, okay? And what goals you have to meet those. So class A properties, these are properties that represents the highest quality buildings in the market and in the area. And they're generally newer properties, say built within the last 15 years, like with top amenities. High income earners normally live in these properties. So you have folks who are renters by choice, we call them, not renters by necessity. So they choose to rent here. These people can really buy a home if they want to buy a home, but they like the lifestyle of low maintenance. And so they oftentimes rent these apartments. And with those, you tend to have more consistent payments, right? And so you have higher income earners in these properties, and you tend to have lower vacancies, right? So these are class A buildings. They're well located in the market, and they're typically professionally managed. With class B property, multifamily properties are just a step below class A properties. They tend to be slightly older and in less pristine condition, but they're still nice assets, and people are still happy to call these places home. People gravitate to them. You may get a slight discount in terms of rent from these properties, right? And if you touch class C properties, these are typically properties more than 30 years old. I said properties probably built prior to 1990, or consider those class C properties. They're tend to locate in less desirable areas, less desirable locations. And these properties are generally in need of renovation, right? Such as upgrading, and building infrastructure may need to be updated, things like that. But these properties normally go, working class families called blue collar workers definitely like these type of property, because then there's a nice place to call home and it's not over expensive. It may not be, have everything luxurious on it, but definitely it serves the family well. And, Class C properties are very, very popular among, working class. And Class D properties, somebody said these to dodge bullets, but I wouldn't say that necessarily. But these properties tend to be like 40 years ago or more. And the tenants are normally on the lower rung of the economic ladder. And unfortunately, these are kind of located in a more high crime area that requires more significant management and more significant security on the property pretty much all times. A lot of programs like government programs like, Section 8 subsidized programs and voucher programs sometimes use these properties, and they serve as home for these individuals as well. So those Class D properties, if you're going to acquire those properties, just know that you're going to be, in for a little more challenge. So you will have to know what your goals are and align them with the multifamily investment that you want to pursue. For example, if one of your goals is to achieve passive income with little or no involvement in the daily operation of the real estate business, then making an investment in a D class may not be in your best interest. Why is that? Because you may not be able to constantly collect rent in D class assets. Sometimes, rent is normally due on the first, late after the fifth. Sometimes these individuals are challenged in terms of making those rental payments. Not like they don't want to make it, I would think, but I mean, other things take priority. And so, maybe you won't get payment until, the 15th, 16th or whatever later on in the month. So it kind of throw you off rhythm just a little bit. So you just got to know that if you want to have passive, constant income, that may not be the class. This is often a low income demographic class you're dealing with low job stability. So things can change very rapidly. So a person with a goal for a steady income would be better off investing in an A-class asset, even though the monthly cash flow may not be as favorable, right? So just as one example in terms of how we want to handle things and make decisions. Now, let's start to wrap up here a little bit in terms of, let's talk about how to make the transition from the single family investing into the multifamily syndication world. And again, let me remind you, if you have questions or so, just drop them in the chat in the Q&A or drop them in the Q&A. We'll definitely entertain those as we kind of start to pull into the dock here. So drop those in the Q&A so that we can always get to those for you. So to make the transition, well, first I would say is the mindset, right? We have to adopt a mindset that multifamily investing is possible, right? And it's also a team sport, and you want to build a team or get a team where you can get on a team where you can showcase your superpower for the benefit of the team, right? And what I mean by that is that, coming into the multifamily space, you gotta know in your hearts of hearts that this is a possibility. I mean, it may challenge it. I mean, without a doubt, if you speak with most operators, they will tell you that, the first 1 or 2 years is definitely a lot of work in terms of getting systems in place and working out, just how the business work and to build those relationships, whether it's a broker relationship or whatever partnership relationship you have to form. But it is essential that we start thinking in that way. And what you can do is just, there are many books out there that can help you to kind of get in the direction of building a team, get into the mindset of the multifamily investing, because it's totally different from the single family world, right? I've been in the single family world for well over, I guess, 14, 15 years, right? In terms of there you can easily take a property down. You have a little work crew, different work crews line up and everything like that. You can easily make a call, get things done. And in the multifamily space is a little bit different, right? And you have to learn how to operate within the team so that the team is most efficient. And you can build your own team, like I said, or you can get on a team that's already established, bring your expertise there, wherever your superpower is. It maybe you're good with broker relations. Maybe you're good with communicating with people. It may be you're good in terms of underwriting, and so you can do broker relations. Hey, maybe you have a great network. Maybe you're a high income earner. And, you know people who are high income earners too. And so you can be a good capital raiser. right? So you can get in the general partner team that way. So you don't have to necessarily start from scratch, coming from the single family world into the multifamily space, but certainly you need to know that you think about it, you get the right mind frame about it, and that you can help a team when you get in there. Educate yourself as well, right? I mean, it's a great thing to educate yourself first. You need to educate yourself on the multifamily investing in general. I would say you don't want to get into it being ignorant of what it takes to succeed in the space. So take the time to study those who have been successful. It's often said that success leaves clues. So pick up some of those clues. You want to read books, you want to attend seminars, you want to join an online forum and connect with experienced multifamily investors who've already been doing it before. So first and foremost is mindset. I could spend all day on mindset, but certainly that's something that you really want to get going in the right direction there for you. You also want to create a plan, right? You got to create a plan, and you got to align your goals with your property type, right? So for example, smaller multifamily units, typically I would say between 50 and below, mid multifamily between 50 and 100, and large we consider 100 and above. At Cash Flow Champs, we tend to do multifamily that are in the large space, which is 100 and more. But you coming in from the single family space, you kind of really want to decide what I want to do and how I want to go about it, because you can do it multiple ways, right? For one, you need to determine the deal size that you want to be with, because a couple of things you can do in terms of transitioning. One is that you can just liquidate all the properties that you have in the single family space. You can liquidate that. You can have all that cash that you can come and you can invest in the multifamily space. So if you have, for example, 25 or 30 single family homes and you liquidate that, I don't know, you say you end up with $2 or $3 million. I mean, you can come right in and buy a smaller mid-sized multifamily property anywhere between 25 and say 100 units, and you can do your own thing there, right? I mean, it depends on where you are. If you're in the Midwest, you can probably buy that all cash. I mean, depending on what the per door price is, right? If you're in the DC area or New York, probably not so much, but it's a decision that you have to make in terms of your deal size. Do I now want to take all my my liquidity from my dispositions and come and just put it into one property, and then it's all under one roof and I get my operation there? Or you can go about it a different way. I mean, you can also use that same liquidity and you can put it towards an A-class asset that's being run by an operator who knows how to run. You can probably have a conversation with an operator, let them know that you're going to deploy all this monies over there, and it's a way probably for you to get in and even raise more money and be on the GP team there, right? So that's a great end with a good operator because you have that liquidity available to you. It may be possible too that you could refinance just your properties. If you think that you want to take it slow and get over to the multifamily space, you could, if you have a lot of cash in your properties, you could refinance some of those properties, get some of the cash out and do something very similar, like what I just spoke about. You still maintain your units that you have, but you give yourself some monies where you can actually invest into multifamily real estate and also be able to bring value to an operator that's currently operating, right? Third option is just, if you liquidate, is just to do a 1031 exchange, right? You can do a 1031 exchange probably using a PIK structure, and use a PIK structure to go ahead and invest in a bigger multifamily property. So that way, you can of course defer your taxes, and then you can roll all your money over. Of course, you'll need some help doing that, and I'm pretty sure the operator that you're talking to will kind of show you the way there. So you really want to check into the different options that you have in terms of making this happen. In terms of getting into an asset yourself, or get into a bigger asset. Bigger assets normally have property management company associated with them, and so that will take the responsibilities off your back. That is normally on the back of single family investors. A lot of single family investors that they run their operation by themselves in terms of management, and so you don't really realize until later, but it does take up a lot of time in terms of dealing with tenants, termites, the toilets, and everything else that goes in terms of doing the physical work yourself. I mean, those are precious hours that you can use to scale your portfolio as far as multifamily business goes. So scalability, we talk about that. That's a big thing. in terms of increasing your number of doors and how you can efficiently do that. So property management will help to alleviate some of that. So let me kind of wind down here in terms of the presentation. Let me take a look into the Q&A to see if there's any questions there. If you have any questions there, please go ahead and drop them in the box and we'll pick them up from there. And Casey saying good morning. Good morning to you, Casey. Appreciate you being here. Let me stop my share here. And yeah, so guys, just let us know if you have any questions. That's the end of the presentation for today. Just want to say thanks again for you guys being here. Let folks know about the fact that we do have a webinar on Thursday at 11 o'clock. We have different topics that we normally cover in these sessions. Hopefully they're informative and that they're helpful to you. And, you know, let folks know about it. If you're interested and want to reach out to us, please go ahead and do that with the information that we provided before, you know, and we'll be happy to contact you. So that's it for today. We appreciate you coming. If there's no other questions, let me see here. Nope. Okay. But we're right about on time. We're right at 11:34. So we're perfect timing. So thanks again for coming. We appreciate you doing that. And hope to see you next week, Thursday, for our next session. We'll get you some information out on that. Have a good day.